welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Not looking good, 23,333 and 185 points lower trade for the Nifty right now. Most of the sectors are down in the red, including the PSU Banks that have dropped by about 3% in trade, media, metal stocks, oil and gas, FMCG, auto, infra, financial services, Nifty Bank itself, which is down 0.6% in trade, private banks, and even the broader markets have all slipped into the red, barring the IT and the real estate space. All of the sectors are down in the red, especially the sentiment is further dampened because of the Adani Group stocks, most of which are down by in heavy single digits and high single digits and double digit losses as well. Most of them also in lower circuits right now. Look at the Adani Group stocks. Adani Enterprises is now down by over 23% in trade. You also have stocks like Adani Green, Adani Energy Solutions, upwards of 18% losses could be seen there. Adani Ports, that's down 12%. Most of these stocks are actually lower in trade, and sharp fall has been coming in as an aftermath of the allegations of bribe and for concealing information, as has been put by US SEC. What we've also seen is Adani Group has made a statement calling all these allegations as baseless as well. But still, you have seen some recovery in some of the stocks come in from the day's low point. But even then, the stocks losses are pretty sharp. Over 2 lakh crore rupees have been lost for investors who've invested in the Adani Group just today. And even Gautam Adani has lost about $10 billion from his net worth with just a single day's crash right now. So that's as far as how the setup is. Let's welcome our guest on board. Kunal Rambia, founder of The Streets, is now with us. Kunal, good afternoon, warm welcome. Throughout the day, it's been all across Adani Group and just the Adani Group that's been the focus, be it on general news channels or on the business news channels right there. It's the, another time Hindenburg deja vu is probably haunting the investors of the D Street and especially those who've been holding the Adani Group stocks right there. This is despite the clarification or maybe a statement which has been released by the Adani Group that the stocks are still down in trade right now. Tell us, how are you assessing the situation? The big question that investors are asking after this statement has come in from the Adani Group that they're calling all these allegations as baseless. Should they see this sharp downfall as a buying opportunity in the Adani Group stocks, or is there going to be much more to go and there will be severe volatility in the days ahead and therefore this will be a no-go area? How are you assessing the situation?
Good afternoon, Sakshi. So, if you look at these kind of events, obviously, everyone will have their own ways of looking at it. But what I look at it, this counter, is that if the counter is available near the risk-reward ratio being very favorable level, then I'll be the first one to initiate the buy. Let's just evaluate Adani Enterprise for the
Sure.
entire year of 2024. That's from Jan so far. The counter was consistently getting the support from 2740, 2750 kind of levels in a day. This counter is down by around 22% and it's back to the previous zone, which is at around 2150 kind of levels. And that 2150 is the final support for now. If the counter falls below 2150, then I can expect the levels, we can expect the levels of around 1500 to 1600 itself. So at this point in time, considering favorable risk reward ratio, yes, I'm onto it. My stop loss for this positional trade is going to be 2150, sorry, 2050. That's almost around 150 points away from the present level. But considering that stop, I think this can be a good buying opportunity. I will not be keen to initiate immediate buy. Rather, I'll wait for a day or two for consolidation. But I'm buying with the stop loss of 2050.
Okay, buy with a stop loss of 2050 on Adani Enterprises, the flagship firm right there. Let's also discuss those which have been sharply impacted. Adani Green is in the center of the controversy right there. What do you have to really say to this one? Do you think this will be looked at as a stock which will be perhaps more vulnerable than the other Adani Group stocks even for the days to come ahead, and therefore one should be really looking at this one at least for the interim as catching a falling knife? 18.5% lower at 1151.
So for now, this counter looks like yes, catching the falling knife. I will stay away from this counter only because why am I buying Adani Enterprise and not Adani Green is because
Yeah.
this counter is still away from the risk reward ratio. I mean the support level, which is not offering me good risk reward ratio. So with 1050, if the counter manages to reach near 1050, then with the stop of 1000, I might think of initiating a buy. But for now, I'll avoid Adani Green. I'll focus more on Enterprise.
Okay, Adani Green is an avoid, whereas Adani Enterprises is something that you could be really looking at as well. Let's talk about the cement majors, ACC, Ambuja. How are you really looking at these cement pack stocks? Of course, a lot of changes structurally are happening in the industry as a whole in India. Mergers, acquisitions, newer players entering the market as well, competitive intensity increasing. How do you look at these two marquee players which were themselves doing very well? And from the time the Adani Group has taken over, they've also succumbed to a lot of pressure that the Adani Group as a whole is facing from, such external factors as well. How would you look at these two?
See, certainly intense competition is witnessed even in the price action because these counters have
Yeah.
not done anything in last 3 years. Look at ACC somewhere in April 21. This counter was near to 1900, went up to 2800, but today in trade again it made a low near to 1800, 1900 itself. So it has not done much. But now, if I just talk about say recovery phase, the counter made low near 1865, and right now it's trading at 2033. That's almost near to the high of the day, and it's going good. The volumes are really strong. So as I always mention, the panic is good opportunity to create that long term positions. Adani, I mean ACC is again one of that counters with the stop of 1800. We have already initiated by with the 1800 as a stop loss. One can strategize the approach. I think this counter is definitely sideways moving, and slow moving counter. But the targets of 2400 because of this sideways consolidation of 3 years can't be ruled out. So yes, with the stop of 1800, it's a buy.
Okay, got that. Another space stock that I will want you to address is from the Adani stable, Adani Wilmar, which has plunged 10% and it has hit record lows as well. How are you really looking at this one? It's already corrected 20% in the calendar year so far. Record lows for this one. This was one stock that was celebrated, and how when the IPO came in, and of course multi-bagger returns were seen right after that. For those who've been actually holding on the stock for far too long from the IPO time, or maybe those who got an early entry, how would you really look at the situations that are emerging right now? Things have not been going in favor of Adani Wilmar for about last 6-8 months or so.
See, honestly, I was from that particular bus which I missed out actually. At the beginning itself, where the counter got listed near to 400 and then went up to 900, I was
Yeah.
just watching the screen because for me, then entering into the up rally was very difficult because of unfavorable risk reward ratio. But now,
Correct.
let's go back and check out Feb 2022, first week itself. The mid of that candle, that particular candle, is around 300. Counter came back to 300 somewhere in the month of November 2023, tried bouncing back, but it was a failure. And today, again, it's trading near to that 300 mark. It's in lower circuit for now. So what I'll do is from here now, because I already missed out the bus, I'm getting good opportunity at this level. I'll wait for this counter to get consolidation. Give me consolidation hint near 275, 280 mark. By tomorrow, if we again see a lower circuit coming on this, and if it gets into sideways consolidation by opening up the circuit for a day also, I will be onto it. My stop loss position stop loss on this will be 240 to 235, where the low was made on the listing day itself, and then I will be trying to ride the entire rally which I missed out earlier. But for me, counter is near to the support, so yes, it's a buy, but I'll wait for a day.
Okay. One more stock that I wanted to discuss before we, complete our Adani Group stocks, discussion is Adani Ports. Now, this has been one of the companies that largely most of the fundamental experts have actually always favored because of the opportunities that it presents, the scalability that there is, the focus that the company has, and of course, the way industry is going to shape up over the next 5-10 years or so. Several positives that have always been, keeping Adani Ports right up there amidst the selection process when one has to look at all the 10 stocks that are listed. Today, it dropped 20%. It's recovered about 7 odd percent right there. At 11:15, how would you really look at Adani Ports?
So again, this was a counter which I thought of shorting, in fact, if the closing was near to the low. But surprisingly, as you correctly mentioned, from the extreme lows of 995, 996, this counter has recovered really sharply. And the volumes are as high as the volume which we saw on 4th June when the counter was down by 21% in a day itself. So this looks to me like someone who sold in the month of June 2024 is trying to accumulate now again. So considering the support of 1000, one can again think of initiating a buy. Don't buy just because the counter is going up as of now. Buy when the counter goes into sideways consolidation near the support. So support right now is 1000 itself. Considering 1000 as a stop loss, one can definitely buy, and the targets can be 1300, where we saw the entire 6 months consolidation support. So 1300 being target, 1000 being stop loss, one can definitely strategize accordingly.
Got it. Now, overall on the Adani Group, before we leave this debate and understanding, Kunal, I know I'm throwing a difficult question to you, but a lot of viewers are already asking that what next now after the downfall that we have seen today? Will tomorrow be another painful day? Will we see recovery from the levels that we have seen already? And how should investors really look at Adani Group stocks from tomorrow's perspective today? Last 15 minutes of trade remaining.
Certainly, yeah. The problem here is that the chaos is very high, and we really don't know the effects and the things gonna go happen in the future. On one side, we have the local company which is doing really good on the global front, and on the other side, we have SEC, which is the father figure for almost all the countries, the financial markets. They are putting the allegation on it. So now it's a tug of war between the two giants for us. So let's keep the chaos aside and focus on the counters. So if I just look at the counters which I missed out probably a year back or 2 years back, they are available to me right near the low itself. If I am missing out on my 5% stop loss, on the other side, we have Mr. Gautam Adani who lost out billions of dollars in a day because of this kind of corrections, right? So considering the ethical standards which are being followed by the company, we assume that. So considering that, I think this is good buying opportunity. The stocks are available at the bottom only when there is problem. And so just focusing on that, I think this can be a good buying opportunity. I am not gonna buy entire Adani pack right now. But as I just mentioned, the counters which are really good near to the support, we can definitely buy. One such counter is Adani Total Gas. I'm very bullish. The stop being 550, one can initiate buy on this counter. It can be a game changer for the time to come. So yeah, selectively, I'm
Okay.
bullish on this entire pack.
Okay, got that. So there you have it on the Adani Group stocks and various stocks we have discussed, and Kunal has really given his points of view right there. Don't go overboard. Don't go for all of them. Look at select pockets where valuations are comfortable. The trend is looking positive at this point in time, and that's how Kunal has guided all of you to really look at some of these stocks as opportunities. Okay, about 13 minutes to go. Let's look at the other set of the market as well. Of course, the trend has weakened. There were global cues, and of course, it was our own news flow that dampened the sentiment for today. But what is the market really looking like to you? We did have that bounce on Tuesday that did not sustain as much towards the end of the session. But are you finding any early signs of a reversal of this long time frame correction that we have been facing since last 5-6 weeks, or is there some more to go, Kunal?
So honestly speaking, Sakshi, this entire correction which we saw on Nifty from 26,000 to almost 23,300 was linear correction with time correction as well as price correction. The price correction was much more, in fact. But at the same time, if you look at Bank Nifty, it's been sideways consolidating now since 6 months, almost 5 months, since June 2024. Bank Nifty has not really fallen below 49,800 kind of levels. Look at today's low. It was 49,787. I'm very comfortable trading Bank Nifty over Nifty right now. I think more or less the correction is done. It's just a matter of time, but we'll see a big rebounding coming from the present levels. PSU stocks and these banking counters, selected banking counters, are the best pick gonna be for the remaining 1.5 month for this entire year.
Okay, PSUs and banking stocks are the two pockets that you're looking at. Let's discuss PSUs then. Which is the pocket of PSUs that you would look at favorably right now? Would any of the defense and railway counters after being battered be a part of those stocks that you will look at?
So, first is definitely HAL. Now, again, we discussed
Okay.
about HAL even in the past. The counter was making consistent bottoms near 3,900 to 3,800 levels. It's available right near there itself. I'm just waiting for one day where the counter goes up by 5%. That can be a good sign for us to, get confirmation that, okay, someone is trying to accumulate. Then with the stop loss of 3,800, one can initiate a buy. The second is BHAL, where I'm finding a lot of comfort. Just look at last 7 to 8 months data. This counter has not really fallen below 222 mark. Today also it made low near 220, 218, but back in trade at 228. I think these are the selected counters where the new bottom is really not formed. Sideways consolidation near support, we should go gung ho on such counters actually.
Okay, got that. So those are the PSU stocks that you could look at. Within the banking space now, Kunal, would you be looking at large cap private sector banks, or would any of the PSU banks also look favorable at the current stage? We've although seen sharp fall even in today's trading session. Of course, these have been big lenders to the Adani Group, and therefore they have also faced a sharp reaction downward. Although they've pulled up from the day's low, I wanted to understand on the banking space, how are you positioning yourself between the private and the PSUs?
See again, the counters are near the support, but the momentum is definitely missing. So the first counter which I'll discuss is say Canara Bank. Now this
Okay.
counter somewhere in the month of October made low of around 93, 94. In today's trade, it went to 92 and a half. Right now trading at 94 and a half. So it's showing the signs of holding up those previously made lows. So considering this, I think the counter goes about 98, 99 levels. One can definitely look at Ken Bank. The second is PNB. Again, this counter is sideways consolidating, but the new low is not really formed. I'm waiting
Okay.
for the breakout of 105. I think that can be a good confirmation for us to initiate by. Third is IOB, Indian Overseas Bank. I'm very comfortable with this bank because this is holding the levels of 49 and a half to 50 levels consistently since a year. So if the counter manages to go above 53, I think this can also be a good position to create for 1.5, 2 months time. So these are the selected PSU banks which I'm looking out for, along with few private sector banks also.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's overall coming on the banking space right now. Let's discuss one more stock. Even within the F&O space, it's Indian Hotels that's actually shown brightly today, 4% higher. It's at a record high level as well in trade today. Indian Hotels for you at 785, would it still make sense for investors to really go big on this one? It's proved its worth from the time of COVID lows till now. It's of course given multifold returns to investors right there. It's been right at the top whenever we discuss tourism and hospitality stocks right there, with the marquee
Correct.
promoters and the management behind it, and the kind of expansion plans that is going with. But at the current levels, do you think the risk reward is favorable, valuations are comforting even for someone who's looking at a long term, or should one wait?
So again, I'm a trend following personality. So for me, these counters are always a big yes, but not at the elevated levels like this. There is always a bull market somewhere in the world is the statement which is getting true for this counter. 785, I will not be comfortable buying, but if the counter manages to come near to 735, 740, yes, I'll be onto it. So if the position is already open by someone, then keep the stop loss of 735, hold on to this position. If someone has already missed the bus for now, avoid, let the counter come down, because in the trending counters also we see the higher low is getting formed when the counter comes down, right? We should be buying at that point in time. So at this elevated level, it's a big no. But counter manages to come by say near 735, 740 in future, yes, it's a buy.
Okay, got that. So that's Indian Hotels for you. What's also shining bright today within the Nifty counters is Power Grid. It's come back strongly, 3.5% higher in trade. It's the top mover in trade today. What's pulling up this stock, and how are you looking at this opportunity?
Yes, very comfortable now. Again, this is one of those PSUs which gave me the first bottoming out sign on 11th November when it
Okay.
was up by around 4.5%. It actually came back to the previous low, and today it's again up by 3.5%. So that high which is formed in between these two bottoms is 330 mark. If the counter manages to go about 330 in a day or two, then with the stop loss of 315, one can initiate a buy and the positional target can be 360. It is that one of the PSU bank counters which has been in sideways consolidation for almost 6 to 7 months again. So considering risk reward ratio and the time correction which is already done, it can be a best pick of going forward.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in. Let's look at the broader markets to also see where the action is. Although limited, but there are several stocks that are actually doing very well. You have Kiri Industries that's up 11.5%. This stock has been on a roll several days in a row. It's been consistently outperforming. This has been one of the favorite stocks that Raghavendra has always talked about on our channel. Tourism Finance Corporation is also moving up to 9.5%. You have NLC India. Again, this is one stock that's up by 9%. VIP Industries is doing well. Pennar Industries is another one. That's actually up by over 8% in trade today. Then you also have some diagnostic names like Vijaya Diagnostic Center, that's up by 7 odd percent. Bliss GVS Pharma is up. Kamath Hotel. So the hotel tourism space is also buzzing as a whole. There are several names that we have pointed out already now. Shilpa Medicare is up by about 6 odd percent in trade. JG Chemicals, Indian Metals, that's another one that's also up. So varied sectors, several stocks within the broader markets that are doing well. Anything that resonates with you right now, Kunal, within the broader markets?
Yeah, so the first is the Shilpa Medicare, which I'm tracking since long,
Okay.
and now this counter is actually entering into all-time higher territory by
Yeah.
giving a breakout above 935, 940 zone. So if that happens, then the target straight away can be 1000 with the stop of 910. I think one can initiate a fresh buy also on Shilpa Medicare. This is
Okay.
the first counter, and the second is Samman Capital, which is looking damn attractive to me. Now this counter is up by around from
Which one
130
is that?
levels, just three. Samman Capital, which was
Samman
Indiabulls
Capital.
Housing Finance earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
this counter just 3 4 days back was trading near to 130 levels. Today it's up by around 7% and it's
Yeah.
trading near 160 levels. I think the resistance is straight away at around 185. So with the stop of around 150, one can initiate a fresh entry onto this counter and the targets can be 185.
185 targets for Sanman Capital, so you can probably look at this one also at 161. Strong volumes could be seen today, 6.8% higher on this as well. And the other one is Shilpa Medicare. Both of these stocks are looking very promising right there, as Kunal has really pointed that out too. Kunal, otherwise, beyond today, if we do not, if we discount what we have discussed, how it has happened today and isolate it, looking at the kind of trend that you've been seeing on the last 3 4 weeks or so, any key pocket within the broader markets, mid and small caps, that's probably come up on your radar where you are really looking at more attractive valuations and something that actually attracts you to start initiating buy on right now? Any sector stocks?
Sector specific story is still not getting developed. Yeah, diagnostic stocks
Hmm.
are doing good, but at the same time, if I look at real estate space, then
Yeah.
this, the counter which we discussed earlier, which was Marathon Nextgen, this
Hmm.
counter we are discussing since quite a long time. This counter gave us the first breakout near 550, went up to 650, and then made a high
Yeah.
near to 725. It's back to 550 levels again. Today's low was 555. Right now, it's trading at 570. So these are the selected pockets where I'm still getting a lot of comfort with extremely favorable risk reward. One can initiate positional as well as short term trades also. So the next counter can be Marathon Nextgen with the stop of 550. One can initiate a buy and the targets can be 625 as the first, followed by 710.20 kind of levels.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So Marathon Next Gen, keep an eye out on it. Kunal has been talking about it, and again, it's come to attractive levels where you could probably look at buying this one. NBFC space, there are again a lot of stocks which are actually doing well, be it from the broking houses spaces or the housing finance names as well. You have stocks like 361 WAM, Home First Finance, Poonawalla FinCorp, 5 Star Business Finance, Avas Financiers, all of them pulling up. And then there is one interesting name, Dhani Services, 7% higher in trade. It's outperforming right there. Have you ever tracked this one? Kunal, would you have a view on this?
It's a highly volatile counter. In fact, it's now giving the first of its positional breakout that's at 74. This counter was below this 74 mark since March 2022. I was not really tracking, but because of continuous queries coming on the different channels, I actually started tracking this. So I was just
Okay.
waiting for the breakout of 75. Today, it's
Yeah.
up by around 7% in a day. If the
Yeah.
counter manages to give a weekly closing above 75, 76 zone, then with the stop loss of 55 or 60, that's the positional stop loss, one can expect the target of 105 and then 125. Keep a watch on it. I think the volume activities are really attractive.
Okay, got it. Last word from you then, Kunal, for tomorrow. How would you advise investors to really, look at the markets?
See, again, I'm very comfortable with Bank Nifty, but as far as Nifty is concerned, it's not showing me any signs of recovery so far. So let's not carry any overnight position, huge positions. We just wait for the surprises to come, either positive or negative. The stocks which we discussed, that the Saman Capital or say Bhale and all, you can definitely position yourself. But let's wait for tomorrow's opening. Let the market settle down somewhere near to the support level. Then, with the favorable risk reward, we can definitely initiate positional trades on it. We are not in market to capture the bottoms. We are here to make some money out of it. So, if the market enters into a trending mode, we'll be able to capture our patience time in that short period of time itself. So, let's wait for a day or two for the clarity to come in.
Okay, got it. Well, thank you so much, Kunal, for being with us on this show, helping all our viewers
My
out
pleasure.
in this volatile side of the market right there. Always appreciate your presence.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
23,340 right now, viewers. 330 right there. So there you see the screen frozen. 23,346, 171 points lower, 0.7% of a fall right there. A large part also has to do with the sentiments that have been dampened because of the Adani Group sharp fall that we've seen today. Nifty Bank has been better off, 0.3% lower at 50,448. But most of the sectors did fall into the red, barring the IT and the real estate space, and the private banks that just inched up towards the end of the session. Some of the constituents that pulled up and stemmed the fall for the Nifty: a Federal Bank, Axis Bank, Kotak Mahindra and ICICI Bank. Rest of the banks still lower in trade, but PSU Banks opposite, 2.7% lower. A lot of these loans that they have extended to Adani Group has been one of the key factors which has pulled them down in trade today. Top movers on the Nifty: Power Grid, Ultratech Cement, Hindalco, Grasim and Axis Bank. Top losers, no prices for guessing: Adani Enterprises, 23.4%, ends near the day's low point. Adani Ports, 13.4%. You also have several other stocks within the Adani Group that have slipped in the trade today. Adani Energy Solutions, 20% lower in trade. Adani Green Energy, 18.9% lower in trade. Ambuja Cements, down 12%. Adani Total Gas, down 10.5%. Adani Wilmar, down 10%. So these are the key stocks. ACC, down 7% in trade as well. So those were the key stocks within the Adani basket that have all slipped in trade after those US allegations have come in. We'll have to wait to see what in the overnight developments do we see. If there is anything else that could dampen the sentiment further, well, we will have to be prepared for it to be seen tomorrow's trading session. Else, if there are any positives, you could also see some sharp recovery. So the things will be standing still till the time we see the overnight developments in the US, any other statements coming in from Indian or the US officials on the Adani Group right after today's allegations have come in right there. Stay tuned on Business Today Television. There's a lot more for you to really seep in as far as how the things are navigating through markets, through Adani Group developments and many others right there on your screens. Thank you so much for being with us on the closing edition.
Air alert sirens were heard through the day on Wednesday in Kyiv and other cities in Ukraine, hours after Ukraine fired 6 US-made Army tactical missile systems into Russia on late Tuesday.